It's hard to beat the natural look of a home finished in real wood. With LP SmartSide Trim and Siding, you can give your homeowners that warm, inviting look with less maintenance. And it's easier than you think. This video will help you understand the basic principles of installing LP SmartSide products and show you the workability and versatility of the LP SmartSide product line. In addition to watching the video, we highly recommend that you follow the detailed application instructions for all LP SmartSide products found at www.lpsmartside.com. LP SmartSide Trim and Siding products are made with treated engineered wood. They give you the look of real wood without many of the problems commonly associated with untreated wood. LP's zinc borate-based SmartGuard treatment is infused into the wood for exceptional protection against fungal decay and termite damage. In fact, LP SmartSide products are so durable, they're backed by one of the best warranties in the industry, the LP SmartSide 50-year limited warranty. It offers a full 5-year labor and material replacement feature and a 50-year prorated warranty on the product. For complete warranty details, visit www.lpsmartside.com. One of the great advantages of working with LP SmartSide products is the ease of installation. First, you'll need a few standard woodworking tools: a circular saw or miter saw, a nail gun or drill, as well as primer, sealant, and paint. As with all power tools, be sure to use proper safety procedures. When storing your trim and siding, keep it dry and off the ground on a flat surface. When working with wood products like LP SmartSide, you'll want to avoid installing the product on a home that is exposed to excessive moisture. For example, homes with recently installed concrete, plaster walls, or wet-blown cellulose insulation. Check the building codes in your area for air barrier or house wrap requirements. Before beginning to install trim and siding products, conduct a visual walk-around inspection of the job site and building. Be sure to address any obstructions such as landscaping or man-made objects around the job site. Inspect the exterior wall framing for any installation defects that could cause the wall to be uneven and lead to a wavy siding appearance. Some items that could contribute to this might be bowed or warped studs or improperly nailed sheathing. During the visual inspection, verify that the house wrap has been properly installed. Look for defects or penetrations through the house wrap that might need to be repaired before installing trim and siding. Ensure that all house wrap seams are taped. Also verify that the flashing around the windows and doors are properly installed and integrated with the house wrap to help avoid water intrusion. Once your visual inspection is complete and all issues have been resolved, you're ready to install your trim and siding. Now, let's get started. LP SmartSide Trim and Fascia can be applied over studs spaced a maximum of 24 inches on center. When installing your trim, keep in mind your trim must extend beyond the thickness of the lap siding. For base trim applications, be sure to allow proper clearances between other structures and the trim. A 6-inch clearance above grade and a 1-inch clearance above all roof lines, sidewalks, patios, decks, and other finished surfaces. Remember, do not install your trim and fascia in contact with masonry, concrete, or brick. When you cut your LP SmartSide products to size, always apply primer and paint to the field cuts with a high-quality, 100% acrylic latex paint. Using a nail gun makes quick work of installing LP SmartSide products. You will want to use a minimum of 0.113-inch shank diameter hot-dip galvanized box-style nail with a minimum of 0.270-inch head diameter. The nail should be long enough to penetrate the structural framing by at least 1 inch. Always set your nail gun so the head of the nail is snug against the siding or flush with the siding surface. Try to avoid overdriving the nails. If you do, seal the hole in exposed substrate with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. If you overdrive the nail by more than 1/8 of an inch, seal the hole and re-nail it. When applying the trim, you must space all butt joints and ends a minimum of 3/16 of an inch. Then fasten with 4 nails into the stud, 2 nails on either side of the butt joint. Now, let's install trim on the vertical corners. You will want to position the trim so that the long vertical seam is not showing on the front of the home. To do this, extend the piece of trim on the front side of the home beyond the end of the wall so that the adjacent piece of trim can butt its edge behind the front piece. This will give your trim a seamless look from a curb appeal view. All LP SmartSide trim should be fastened with the nails spaced a maximum of 24 inches apart with at least 2 nails in each stud. Or you may fasten every 12 inches with a pattern alternating edges along the trim. Every nail should be placed 3/8 of an inch from the corresponding outside edge. It is common when applying trim to corners to have to nail into the edge of the adjacent trim board. LP SmartSide trim may be fastened in this way, but remember that you must pre-drill all nail holes first. When installing trim around windows and doors, there are 2 preferred methods: butted end joints and diagonal cut joints. Keep in mind, you do not need to space the ends of trim when installing around windows and doors only. Give your trim a little extra room around the perimeter of the window or door by leaving a 3/16 inch space around the window framing. Fasten the trim with the same nailing requirements mentioned earlier. Windows will require a Z flashing above the window. Don't forget to allow for a 3/8 of an inch space between the flashing edge and the trim edge. Do not apply sealant in any space where flashing is integrated. Use the same nailing requirements when installing LP SmartSide fascia over a subfascia. Remember to use Z flashing above all horizontal trim and band boards. Now that your trim has been installed correctly, you're ready to hang your siding. Let's start with LP SmartSide Precision Series lap siding. This siding can be installed over code-approved nailable sheathing or directly to framing. If you install lap siding over framing, use 76 series lap for framing spaced 24 inches on center, or use 38 series lap for framing spaced 16 inches on center. Let's begin installing by snapping a level chalk line along the bottom of the wall. Make sure it is level by measuring from the top of the wall down to your clearance height. Remember, the ground clearance is required 6 inches above grade and 1 inch above all roof lines, sidewalks, patios, decks, and other finished surfaces. And do not install the lap siding in contact with masonry, concrete, or brick. Before you can hang your first course of lap, you will want to install a starter shim to give you the proper angle for the first course of lap. LP advises against ripping any SmartSide materials as it will leave edges unprotected. But ripping a piece of lap can work well for use as a starter shim. Just remember to prime and paint the exposed substrate. In fact, you'll have to make many cuts throughout the job to fit your materials to the home. When you cut LP SmartSide products to size, always apply primer and paint to the field cuts with a high-quality, 100% acrylic latex paint. Using a nail gun makes quick work of installing LP SmartSide products. You will want to use a minimum of 0.113-inch shank diameter, hot-dipped, galvanized box-style nail with a minimum of 0.270-inch head diameter. The nail should be long enough to penetrate the structural framing by at least 1.5 inches. Always set your nail gun so the head of the nail is snug against the siding or flush with the siding surface. Try to avoid overdriving the nails. If you do, seal the hole in exposed substrate with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. If you overdrive the nail hole by more than 1/8 of an inch, seal the hole and re-nail it. Now that the level starter shim is fastened in place, we can begin our first course of lap siding. Make sure the piece is level and that the ends land on studs. Then start nailing from one end to the other on every stud. When blind nailing LP SmartSide lap products, place the nails roughly 3/8 of an inch from the siding's ends and roughly 3/4 of an inch from the top edge. For the following pieces of lap, be sure to allow for 3/16 of an inch space at each end of the lap and each butt joint. Overlap successive courses by a minimum of 1 inch. And remember to stagger your joints over stud locations for a more natural appearance. There are a few things to remember when installing LP SmartSide lap siding around windows. Windows will require a Z flashing above the window. Don't forget to allow for a 3/8 inch space between the flashing edge and the siding edge. Do not apply sealant in any space where flashing is integrated. Also, below windows may require a piece of lap siding to be cut to shape. When this occurs, you will have to face nail that piece every 8 inches on center. Once your trim and siding is hung, it's time to seal all expansion joints and corner joints with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. It can be common practice for some builders to finish the front of the home with lap siding and the remaining walls with panel siding. LP SmartSide 4-foot wide panel siding comes in lengths of 8 to 10 feet long and equipped with shiplap edges. This can save money and time during installation. Once flashing and trim have been properly installed, you can begin hanging your panel siding. But let's not forget some of LP's basic requirements. Remember, the ground clearance is required: 6 inches above grade and 1 inch above all roof lines, sidewalks, patios, decks, and other finished surfaces. And do not install the panel siding in contact with masonry, concrete, or brick. All LP SmartSide panel siding may be installed over 16-inch on-center framing. When installing over 24-inch on-center framing, you must use Precision 190 series panel siding. Using a nail gun makes quick work of installing LP SmartSide products. You will want to use a minimum of 0.113-inch shank diameter, hot dip galvanized box style nail with a minimum of 0.270-inch head diameter. The nail should be long enough to penetrate the structural framing by at least 1.5 inches. Always set your nail gun so the head of the nail is snug against the siding or flush with the siding surface. Try to avoid overdriving the nails. If you do, seal the hole in exposed substrate with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. If a nail is overdriven by more than 1/8 of an inch, seal the hole and re-nail it. When you cut your LP SmartSide products to size, always apply primer and paint to the field cuts with a high-quality 100% acrylic latex paint. The base trim piece must be flashed with Z flashing. Allow for 3/8-inch gap above the flashing before installing your panel siding. You'll want to treat every horizontal joint with flashing and spacing when hanging LP SmartSide panel siding. Position your panel siding so it's level and the shiplap edges fall on the center of studs. You will then use a double nailing technique along the shiplap edge. Nail through the shiplap on the first panel, then nail 1 inch from the edge at the overlap flange on the second overlapping panel. When nailing the rest of your LP SmartSide panel siding, make sure you space your nails no more than 6 inches apart at the panel's edges around the perimeter and no more than 12 inches apart at the intermediate stud supports. Whenever your panels butt against windows, doors, or trim, leave a minimum 3/16-inch space. Remember, when installing LP SmartSide panel siding around windows, that Z flashing will be required above the window. Don't forget to allow 3/8-inch space between the flashing edge and the siding edge. Do not apply sealant in any space where flashing is integrated. Installing LP SmartSide Cedar Shakes combines the practices of lap siding and panel siding. They use an overlap layout and have a shiplap edge design. You will begin again by snapping a level chalk line and installing a starter shim. Remember to abide by required clearances and flashing practices before hanging your first piece of cedar shake. Do not install the shakes in contact with masonry, concrete, or brick. Install cedar shakes on stud spacing no greater than 16 inches on center. You will want to use a starter shim that is roughly 1.5 inches wide and 3/8 inch thick. Remember, when you cut LP SmartSide products to size, always apply primer and paint to the field cuts with a high-quality 100% acrylic latex paint. You will want to use a minimum of 0.113-inch shank diameter, hot dip galvanized box style nail with a minimum of 0.270-inch head diameter. The nail should be long enough to penetrate the structural framing by at least 1.5 inches. Always set your nail gun so the head of the nail is snug against the siding or flush with the siding surface. Try to avoid overdriving the nails. If you do, seal the hole in exposed substrate with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. If a nail is overdriven by more than 1/8 of an inch, seal the hole and re-nail it. You must face nail LP SmartSide Cedar Shakes. Install the first course upside down for a straight drip edge along the bottom. You will then use the double nailing technique along the shiplap edge. Nail through the shiplap on the first panel, then nail 1 inch from the edge at the overlap flange on the second overlapping panel. Overlap successive courses a minimum of 1 3/4 inch. LP makes it simple. You can use their alignment notch in the shiplap edge as an automatic guide to lap each course. Face nail all shake pieces roughly 3/4 inch from the bottom edge to penetrate both courses. To continue with a straight drip edge appearance, you will want to follow this sequence. Starting from right to left, level and install the first course of siding so straight edge is no more than 1/2 inch below the starter shim. Trim the right edge so that the siding section fits against the corner board with a 3/16 inch space, and so that the opposite shiplap edge falls on a stud for nailing. If you would like to achieve the intended random drip edge appearance, you will need to follow this sequence. Starting from left to right, level and install the first course so random edge is no more than 1/2 inch below the starter shim. Trim left edge so that siding section fits against quarter board with a 3/16 inch space and so that the opposite shiplap edge falls on a stud for nailing. You can also achieve a staggered joint appearance with LP SmartSide Cedar Shakes. You can do this by trimming the second course starter piece of shake 16 inches shorter than the first course, and then trim the third course starter piece of shake 32 inches shorter than the first course. Repeat this same sequence every 3 courses. You may find yourself installing LP SmartSide shake siding around windows. Windows will require a Z flashing above the window. Don't forget to allow for 3/8 inch space between the flashing edge and the siding edge. Do not apply sealant in any space where flashing is integrated. Now that you've properly installed your LP SmartSide Trim and Siding, it's time to install your LP SmartSide soffit. LP makes their soffit with several designs, including panel soffit and cut-to-width soffit, which is available both as vented and non-vented. LP SmartSide soffit can be applied over framing that spans a maximum of 24 inches on center. One thing to remember when installing LP SmartSide soffit is all ends and edges must be supported or backed by solid 2x4 inch or larger framing. If you are using LP SmartSide vented soffit, try to avoid cutting through the vented areas. Also, if you are installing an open soffit application, you must use LP SmartSide Precision 76 series or 190 series soffit. As with all LP SmartSide products, do not install the soffit in contact with masonry, concrete, or brick. You will want to use a minimum 0.099 inch shank diameter hot dip galvanized box style nail with a minimum 0.270 inch head diameter. The nail should be long enough to penetrate the structural framing by at least 1.5 inches. Always set your nail gun so the head of the nail is snug against the siding or flush with the siding surface. Try to avoid overdriving the nails. If you do, seal the hole in exposed substrate with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. If you overdrive the nail by more than 1/8 inch, seal the hole and re-nail it. When you cut LP SmartSide products to size, always apply primer and paint to the field cuts with a high-quality 100% acrylic latex paint. Position the soffit so all ends and edges land on studs. Then begin nailing. You should nail around the perimeter a maximum of every 6 inches and every 12 inches at intermediate supports. When nailing the perimeter, space your nails 3/8 inch from the edges. When nailing up your soffit, make sure you space all ends and butt joints a minimum of 3/16 inch. By following the installation guidelines outlined in this video, along with LP SmartSide installation instructions, you can give your homes a signature look that will delight homeowners and that homebuyers can't resist. Your good name is on the line and LP SmartSide wants to protect it. When it comes to warranties, LP has you covered with the LP SmartSide 5 50-year limited warranty. See www.lpsmartside.com for complete warranty details. All LP SmartSide products are designed to perform beautifully for many years to come. Thank you for watching, and please stick around to learn a few tips and tricks when working with LP SmartSide products. Welcome to LP SmartSide Installation Tips. we will be discussing and teaching the basic principles of alternative fastening for lap products over structural panels and 24-inch on-center framing, installing and handling pre-finished lap siding with 3 different types of butt joint applications, and how to repair butt joints that may be causing your lap siding to buckle. Let's begin with LP SmartSide alternative fastening requirements. When installing LP SmartSide lap siding over 24-inch on-center framing and 7/16 category structural panels, you may use different nails and nail spacing. This only applies to lap siding that is under 12 inches wide. LP SmartSide has 3 product categories: Precision Series, Foundation Series, and Architectural Collection. When installing Precision Series lap in this application, you may use .091-inch diameter hot-dipped galvanized ring shank nails or number 8 hot-dipped galvanized tapered head wood screws. For both, you must make sure you get at least 1.5 inches of sheathing and framing penetration. If you choose to use ring shank nails, you must nail the lap siding a maximum of every 8 inches and hit every stud. If you choose to use the wood screws, you must screw the lap siding a maximum of every 12 inches and hit every stud. Now let's talk about Foundation Series and Architectural Collection lap siding over structural panels. You must use nails. You can choose between .113-inch diameter or .091-inch diameter hot-dipped galvanized ring shank nails. If you choose to use .113-inch diameter ring shank nails, you must nail the lap siding a maximum of every 8 inches and hit every stud. If you choose to use the .091-inch diameter ring shank nails, you must nail the lap siding a maximum of every 4 inches and hit every stud. LP SmartSide products can be professionally pre-finished before they get installed on the home. When handling pre-finished products, you will want to use caution as to not damage the finished surfaces. You will have a few preferred methods of butt joint treatment to choose from. These practices will help control water runoff and house wrap exposure to the sun. Let's discuss the 3 preferred ways to treat expansion joints when installing LP SmartSide pre-finished lap siding. The first and most common method would be to caulk the joints. When 2 pieces of lap siding are installed with the required 3/16 of an inch spacing, you can simply caulk that spacing with an ASTM C920 Class 25 or higher sealant. It is best to achieve 2 points of contact per bead of sealant. This means just the right amount of sealant. It should be touching both pieces of lap, but not fill the gap all the way back to the house wrap. Be sure to follow the sealant manufacturer's instructions to best avoid water intrusion. The second preferred practice is achieved by using pan flashing behind the butt joints. In many cases, you will be able to color match the pan flashing to match the pre-finished SmartSide products. Begin by nailing the length of the lap siding, but do not nail the ends. The ends that make up the butt joint should both be factory painted ends and spaced a minimum of 3/16 of an inch. Before nailing the ends of the lap, slide the pan flashing into place so the butt joint lands at the middle of the flashing and the flashing overlaps the course below. Then nail the ends of the lap into the stud. You will want to do this in every butt joint. The third preferred method of butt joint treatment for pre-finished lap siding is by using a joint molding or H-clip. Fasten the length of the lap, but do not fasten the ends of the boards. Install the lap with a 1/4 inch space at the butt joint. Then carefully slide your joint molding into place until the bottom is flush with the bottom of the siding. Once the joint molding is in place, fasten the ends of both lap boards to the stud. What you're about to learn can be used as guidance when repairing butt joints that were not spaced correctly and may be causing your lap siding to buckle. You want to remember to space all ends and butt joints a minimum of 3/16 of an inch. Let's begin with the remedy process. You will start by using wooden wedges to separate the affected piece of lap from the overlapping piece above. To protect the house wrap from this next step, you may use a piece of metal sheeting to slide behind the lap siding. Using a keyhole or reciprocating saw with a fine-tooth blade, remove enough material from the end of one piece of lap siding in order to provide at least 3/16" space. If any area of the siding has been forced to deflect away from the wall, face nail only that area to flatten the piece back against the wall. Be sure to properly caulk and paint all exposed nail heads. Remove all loose debris, sawdust, and leftover caulk from the expansion joint to smooth out the cut ends so that the surface is prepared for finishing. Using a brush, prime all exposed wood fibers in accordance with installation instructions. Be sure to follow the coating manufacturer's application and maintenance instructions. Seal the gap with an ASTM C920 Class 25 sealant. Be sure to follow the manufacturer's instructions for application and backer rod requirements. Finish the repaired area using an exterior paint consistent with LP SmartSide installation instructions. Be sure to follow the coating manufacturer's application and maintenance instructions.